Hello, welcome to Woodland Permaculture. I'm Jenny Wood, and today I'm getting started on my drip system. I am really excited because, as in my previous video that you've seen, I've been watering my garden every morning and evening. And it takes me like a half an hour, 45 minutes each time. And so it's going to take me a day or two to get this drip system in. But after that, it'll be a huge time saver. And it's not so difficult either. I found a really good YouTube video that I will link to in my description. And the guy gave me some really great tips and really went through the process very clearly. And then I also have my next door neighbor that I told you about, they're awesome and they have a great garden, and they put in their drip system and they showed me their drip system yesterday, and so I was able to go off of that and off the YouTube video. And today I went to the local hardware store and got almost all of the stuff that I need to be able to put in my drip system. And it was a lot of stuff because I've got a lot of plants now and I've got a lot of space, and so it's just going to take a little bit of time, but that's it. The first thing I did though was plan my system. I am really lucky because I have a couple of extra copies of the permaculture design that I got last year, and it has a perfect to scale diagram of my property, and I was able to show all the places where the spigots are and really map out where the drip system is going to be, where the half-inch lines are going to be, and then where the little quarter lines are going to go to each plant. And so that really helped. I'm going to take the phone off the tripod and show you real quick. All right, so here's a quick view of my property. And you can see there's the pool in the backyard. Here's my pond up front. Here's my big mulberry tree and my jacaranda trees over here, and then all the other stuff. But the important things today are that I have spigots. One here, I've marked them in just black dots. One here, and then one here in front. And I'm going to use each of those to build my drip system. The dark blue lines are the half-inch tubing that I'm going to lay. So today I'm going to start with this side one, and hopefully I'll get that one done, but if not, I'll keep working on it tomorrow. But I'd like to get the whole thing done by tomorrow. And so you put all the different things in there, and I'll show you that in a bit. And then we lay out the half-inch tubing all along the places where I have plants that I want to water, and in the easiest configuration. And then this comes down here, and then I have another one that comes down here. And so with this one spigot, I'm going to water all of this all along this side and then all along here. And so that will be a really big deal to get that done today. And then the spigot back here is really only going to water this section over here. And right now I don't have anything planted here, but just have these. So it's just really going to water this front section here. And then this front spigot here is going to water this section in my front yard. So I may want to rethink that, but this is the easiest way because otherwise I have to go under more sidewalks, and I have to learn how to do that. I saw a video that tells me how to do that as well, but I got to learn that part. So let's see if we can go over to that first spigot over here, and I will get some of my materials and show you the easy way that it is to set up a drip system. All right, so I've already changed my mind about one thing, and that is that I'm starting in the backyard, on the spigot in the backyard, instead of on the side yard as you saw. And I did that for a couple of reasons, but mostly just because I thought it would be easier for you guys to see things. So I've got my spigot, I took my hose off, and I've got the things lined up that I'm going to be attaching to the spigot. And it should be pretty easy. Let's see if it is. The first thing I have is what they call a split valve, or a Y valve, and that's so that you can put this on one spigot and have both your hose and your drip system attached to the same place. Okay, hold on. Ooh. Let me see if I feel like I'm doing something wrong already. Okay, it's got its little plastic washer down in there, which is a good thing, and I gotta just make sure I get this on there correctly. should just go right on there, but nope, of course. Got to have problems. It's not wanting. Okay, so I had trouble with the Y valve. I just couldn't make it go on this spigot. So what I did was I started with this. And this is the pressure regulator. And from what I've heard, the pressure coming out of your spigot is a little too high for a drip system, and it pops a lot of the emitters and other things off of it. So you get a pressure regulator to make sure that that doesn't happen. So this will go on here pretty well, and then I can put on the Y valve. There we go. Right now they're in off positions. Each thing has a little on-off switch, which is awesome. I think they're in off right now, so I'm going to turn this on. Whoops! And see, there's already a leak at the top. So I'm going to try and tighten that. And I have had trouble with this spigot leaking like this before. So I'm going to have to get this tighter on there. Actually, I have my handy dandy wrench here. I'm going to try and not break my thing. I'm going to try and tighten it more. Yep, still leaking, so I'm going to have to troubleshoot that and get right back to you. Okay, so after a few minutes of using my wrench to tighten it down and consequently wrecking it up a little bit, it seems to be on there without any leaking. So that is great. So then, because I want to have a hose on one side, I'm just going to go ahead and put a hose on that side. Open this one up. There we go. And so now my hose will work. This one is turned off, but if I did this, boop, yep, things will come out. Okay, so then I've got the pressure regulator and the split Y thing. There's also, my neighbor has a chlorine filter on his, and I think that's a really good idea to keep those chemicals out of the garden. But I couldn't find that at the hardware store, so I'm going to have to order one. So I'll put that on later. But for now, the next thing we're going to put on there is a digital timer. And this is really key to being able to just set it and forget it, so that I can set the timer and set the set the timer and set the settings so that it will go on once in the morning and once in the evening, and then I just have to check on it every once in a while and make sure it's working. Okay, hold on. Again, things are not just easy. Okay, try this again. There we go. It's a little better. Let's see if I got... Okay, so there doesn't seem to be a leak there, which is great. And then the last thing I'm going to put on here is the adapter. And this adapter allows me to put a 1/2-inch tubing on this end, and this end will just screw right onto here. That should be about right. Now, I'd like to test it. Let's see if I can turn this on and just see if it comes out. This says it's on. Oh, well, that's right. Oh, there we go. I have to turn that on. Turn that off. There we go, and that makes sense. And it doesn't, again, there doesn't seem to be any leaks on here, so that's good. I'm going to turn this off. And then this is on. I'm going to turn this on, and look. Now, nothing leaks, and it's all ready to go. Now, I can go ahead and put a 1/2-inch tubing on there. All right, so I have a 100-foot coil of 1/2-inch tubing, and I'm going to attach it here. And it has this cool thing that can screw onto it so that, the other way, so that it can tighten down a little better. Let me try it this way. There we go. So we put this on here the way that it wants to go. There we go. There. That's tightening up. And that's not going to come off. And that's not going to come off. Excellent. So then I want to run it along the back of the house and then around the corner. So I'll try and show me doing that. So I had to maneuver it underneath this plumbing pipe right here where this service meter is. And so I had to kind of shove the whole roll under here, and then I tucked it underneath this drain spout. And then over here I have a little patio, or our big patio. And what I did was I just kind of tucked it underneath the threshold there and put my mat under right next to it to kind of hold it in place. And now I'm going to show you how I bring it all the way down this side yard. So I'm just going to kind of tuck this underneath some rocks to kind of hold it in place. Not a lot of danger of people tripping on it over here, but it just kind of hides it and keeps it from coming out. So this section is going to be interesting. This is where my rain barrels are, a door into the garage, and then the gate to go out into the actual garden where the water needs to go. And I was thinking of going around behind those water barrels and then going just along the house some more here. But with that door there, that might be tricky because the door has to open and people might trip on it and all that stuff. So now I'm thinking I have this gap right here in between the pavers and that cement, and I think I might just get my trench digger and dig this part out right here and bury the line along here until I get outside the gate. Did you guys really think you'd get through a project with me where I wasn't digging? So right here in this corner, I think I'm going to have to use an elbow valve instead of just trying to wrap it around, because see, it'll kink. And if it kinks, then water can't go through. So that's what the elbow valves are for. So I'm going to cut this tubing. Let's hope I don't do it wrong. Boop. And then this valve acts just like the one we had by the faucet. Just going to shove it on there. And tighten this down. Make sure it doesn't. There we go. And this one goes on the other end. And so that can't come off. That's not coming off, and that fits right in there. And once I get it past the gate, then it can just kind of go. But I need to bury it just a little bit in here. There we go. Put that on there. Cover this up a bit. We're good. All right, so this part should be interesting, and we may have some background music, so enjoy that. But I need to get my tubing underneath my pathway, my urbanite pathway. And of course, I don't want to dig up all that concrete that I put in there. So I looked up some YouTube videos as to how to get piping and the tubing underneath. And I'm going to follow something I found on like 3 different videos. So what I did was I got a 3/4 inch PVC pipe, this gray PVC pipe right here, and I cut it to be about just a little longer than the distance I want it to go. So I wanted to go from right here over to the other edge of the pathway by the driveway. So I cut it to be that long. And then what I'm going to do is duct tape, that's what one of them said, and that was the easiest. Duct tape a hose onto this end right here. And then the other end I'm going to use to burrow underneath right there, using the water to help get the dirt and stuff out of the way, kind of ramming it through with the water and the piping. And then once I get the PVC pipe under there, all I have to do is lead the tubing through the PVC pipe. So this is going to be interesting. Let's see if this works. Okay, I've got it duct taped. Water's coming out. Let's see if I can do this. This is how they did it. They just kept ramming it. Don't you hate it when YouTubers make things seem so easy? Ugh. So, long story short, it's the next day. One YouTuber said that this would take 4 minutes to burrow under this thing. And that was completely wrong. But anyway, I think I'm finally through. I kept pushing and pushing and pushing and nothing happened. And yesterday I just gave up. I was so exhausted. And so today I'm at it again. And I figured that I might be going a little too deep. So here's my exit hole. I had to dig down even deeper and eventually even took out one of my pieces of cement from my urbanite that I don't know if you can see that down there or not, but there's the end of the tube. Anyway, if you can't see it, I'm sorry. But it's finally through, and I'll let you know what I do next. All right, now that that nightmare is over, oh, I forgot to mention, I have another one I have to do. And that one is going to be under an actual sidewalk of slab. And I'm not going to have the luxury of taking out little pieces of cement to help me. But anyway, that's for future Jenny to worry about. At this point, I'm going to now feed through the drip line through the PVC pipe. But before I do that, I'm putting this bit of duct tape on the end so that we don't get gunk inside of there. Because any gunk we get in our tube is going to is going to clog up our drippers, our emitters. So here we go. Let's see. Get that through. Not quite. See if it goes through some more. Okay. So that's a problem. Hold on. We're getting there. There we go. Let's see. All right. That went through. And now that I got that through, now I just have to pull it and line it all the way around this section right here, which should be the easy part. Whoops. Glad I had that duct tape on there. It's a mess. I'll fill that hole in later. Okay, perfect. It's the exact right length. It was 100 feet and it went all the way around pretty much exactly where I wanted it. And so the next thing I have to do is at all of these little plants all along the drip line, I need to punch a hole, which I have a special hole puncher, put in a connector and then some 1/4 inch tubing and then an emitter, a drip emitter on the end. And again, this part should be easy, but we'll see, because nothing's been easy so far. Okay, now we get to the next step. I am going to be attaching this 1/4 inch tubing to the 1/2 inch tubing and then an emitter right by my little grape plant. By the way, this is a flame seedless grape. First thing I got to do is make a hole. So I did buy this handy dandy hole puncher. So I'm going to put this here. Wait, nope, I gotta put it in here and then make a hole. I hope that made a hole. And then I take a connector. It's a connector just like this and I poke it into that hole. That's, again, in theory, this should be really easy. I don't think that hole went all the way through. Why am I not surprised? Oh great, now I have 2 holes. There we go. That's a little better. Now, if that did make another hole right next to it, I've got things to plug up that hole. But now I'm going to take just that much, not very much, of this 1/4 inch tubing, and I'm just using one of my regular trimmers to cut that. I'll put that on here. There we go. And then an emitter, just like this. I believe this is a 1 gallon per hour emitter. There we go. All right. And then that's my emitter. Now, I've also been thinking about maybe getting some of those 2-pronged stakes to go around this to kind of hold it in place. And I'll probably bury it in the mulch at some point. But for now, this works. And I don't like that it's pointing up, but I'll figure that out. Same thing. Maybe I'll get a little thing to put it down like that. But there's one done. I'm assuming that it's working. And I just have to do that about 100 more times, and then I'll be done. Okay, so I don't know if I've mentioned to you yet or not, but today it's 102 degrees in my town, in Tracy, California. So I decided to take some of my work inside into the air conditioning. So I've put together all of the tubes and the emitters. I measured out the distances from each plant to where the drip line is, and I went ahead and at least put the emitters and the connectors onto the tubes. So now all I have to do at each station, at each plant, is punch a hole in and stick the connectors in there, and that's it. So I'm hoping not to be out here in this heat more than another 15 or 20 minutes today. And then after I'm done with that, I'm hitting the pool. Alright, so the last thing I have to do is to cap off this end so that water doesn't come streaming out of it. So I have some handy dandy little clamps for that. These guys right here. What you do is, this is what it says to do. I got the right one. This is 1/2 inch to 5/8. What I do is I put it on one end and then I crimp it and then I put it on the other end. There we go. And that should keep water from coming out this end. And we'll keep it good. All right, so guess what time it is? It's time to test it. All right, so here I am back at the spigot. I'm gonna make sure this is turned on. I gotta make sure this little thing is on. And then right here on this, I gotta just just to test it, I'm gonna do on. Whoops, all right. I'm already seeing a leak right there, so let's turn it off. I'll come back to you in a minute. All right, so just so you know, I've been to the hardware store 3 times already. I'm sure I'll be going again. But the last time I went, I noticed that they had another kind of adapter with a little blue ring instead of a black one. And that blue ring was actually pretty important. This is one made for a hose end instead of what they call a pipe end, and I think it's just slightly bigger, just the tiniest bit bigger. And so when I went ahead and got one because I figured that was probably one of my problems, and so I put that on here, and now I think we're good. So I'm going to do this again. I'm going to turn it on. Okay, good. I'm not seeing any leaks. No leaks there. Okay, maybe there's just a tiny bit right there. But I'll work on that in a little bit. Maybe that just needs to be tight. Okay, let's go check the other spots. Here's the elbow valve that I got, and it looks good. No leaks there. Okay, so this is a bit of a problem. I've got a couple of drippers here that are up in the air. I think you saw that earlier. But at my last trip to Ace, I got a couple of these guys, or a bunch of these guys, and I will use those to clamp these down into the ground. Here we go. These emitters seem to be pouring out quite a lot of water. I thought they were going to be drips. I may have to do some research on that. Maybe I got the wrong emitters. But I do know I was supposed to get a gallon per hour. There we go. Now it's not flying up into the air anymore, right? That's looking better. But they still seem to be pouring out a lot of water. Let's go see what else is happening. Okay, so this emitter is doing what I expect it to be doing. You see, it's just letting out a little bit. And in fact, this is one that I got for my trees. This is my fig tree. And it's supposed to be a 2 gallon per hour emitter. Whereas the other ones, the smaller ones that are just pouring out, those are supposed to be 1 gallon per hour. So something's wrong. And I'll have to figure that out. All right, I think I fixed it. I had the wrong emitters on there. I had something called an inline emitter, and I needed a compensating pressure emitter. Oh my gosh, all these different little things. But I think I've got that figured out now. And I just have one more thing to show you before I'm done with this section of the video. The last thing I just wanted to show you was that the end cap was working. Nothing is coming out of the end. And so now at this point, I think this section is done. And I'm going to put it on its timer. And then this evening at 8 o'clock, it should go on and it should water my plants over here for about 30 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes, and then I'll be very happy. I have also gone ahead and attached all the equipment to the other two spigots. And this one is a little different. I wanted to show it to you. First of all, I have a different valve on their timer because they only had one of the other kind that I had. And this is the only other one that would work. So I got that. And then I still have the Y and the splitter there. But instead of hooking up a hose to one end, I'm hooking up two of the tubing adapters. And that is because I'm going to have two 1-inch or 1/2-inch tubes coming out of here. One is going to go down this side and out towards the front, see through my greenhouse. And the other one is going to cross over this pathway and then come across and go down this way into my backyard to water all of my plants in the back. I don't think I'm going to go under this pathway though. I think what I'm going to do is find a path and just kind of dig through the cement pieces till I can get it to the other side and just bury it in between. I don't feel like going a third time underneath the pathway. So that's all I'm going to show you until I'm at the very end. I think you've seen me do enough of the stuff that if I come up with anything else new that I am doing and that I haven't shown you, I will let you know. Okay, so yesterday I had a huge snag. I was trying to go under my sidewalk and could not get through. I'm sorry, I've already started cleaning it up and filling in the hole and stuff, so I can't show you, but I do have a picture that I'll insert here so that you can see. So I tried to go under from the left and go using that same method I used on the pathway, going underneath, and I got about 1.5 feet and already it was super hard to do. It was really hard to get through there, and then all of a sudden there was just no progress. I would pump and pump and pump and nothing. It wouldn't go anywhere. And so I think I hit a root or a big block of cement or something, but it wouldn't go through. And I tried for like 4 hours. Oh, it was a bad day. I also ran over my hose and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it was a really bad day. And so today I asked my handyman to come out and take a look and see if he had any brilliant ideas. He did not. I could not find anybody who had any brilliant ideas to help me get under there. So I have decided to reconfigure and reorganize the entire drip system so that I can do something a little different and to get out to this section. And I will show you that right now. Let me turn the camera around. Okay, so again, this is where it was. And here's the spigot that I was trying to use right there. And this is the part of the yard, the very front part of the yard that I have been trying to get a drip line out to. So instead of going underneath there, I'm going to come out here and tap into this drip line that comes from the side yard. This is the one I set up the first day. Nope, the second day. I'm going to cut it somewhere right about here. I'm going to put in a T valve. And so then this drip line can stay, and then I'm going to add another drip line to come over here. It's going to follow right through that crevice next to the sidewalk, and then I will figure out how it's going to go. Maybe up through here for my berries, maybe another T to come over here to do my corn, and I'm going to do a little zigzag pattern with my thing. This line that comes up here for the berries, I'll probably come up here. It'll go through here and then maybe around my guild, my lemon bush guild right here. So that's the next thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to work on that today. I will let you know how it turns out. I don't think I'm going to do any more video for that because, again, I'm not doing anything else new, but I'll let you know if I do. All right, I have finally finished my drip system. I ended up doing a T valve right here, and then following this line, I buried it already underneath this section between the sidewalk and my pathway. And then I did another T valve here, and then this line goes down where my berries are, and hopefully will be more. And this line comes up this way, and from here I hooked in some of the 1/4 inch line that already has emitters inside of it. So I don't have to add emitters to this one, it just has emitters every like 6 inches. And for that, I did that for the corn. So it is here woven in between the corn and waters my corn twice a day. So that I thought was very useful. And then there's a coil of that left over here. And my plan in just maybe a couple of weeks, as soon as I get the seed, I'm going to plant clover all through this intense brown section here that I've not been able to plant anything in this year. And I'm going to plant a cover crop of clover, and the rest of this I will weave through there to water the clover. So let's see, what else do I need to show you? This is the end of this side, and so my front yard is all done, my backyard is all done, and I'm excited about that. So thank you guys for joining me with yet another project. I am so grateful for all of you who are still with me and wanting to see more about my projects. I've been a little discouraged with my progress this year, but I think next year will be a lot better, and I'm still working and I'm still trying, and I'm taking you guys along with me. Thanks so much for being here. God bless.